Well, it's been a little while, hasn't it? About a half year or so? Yeah, it's been a long time. Either way, been busy. Besides the point, I thought what we would do today, because somebody's asked me to do it, is do a 3DS capture card video. Now, I've done a couple of these already. I still have some to do for 3DS XL. I don't think I'm going to do a video on those, I just want to get them done. So, but I thought I might as well take the time to make a video on this, because there's not a lot of documentation. This is it's called an SPA3. I'll have a link to it. It's a Japanese capture card. Lets you use USB and you capture the screen of your 3DS on your computer. I don't know what the use for that would be. Maybe you're playing a video game, you want to broadcast it on Twitch or something, I don't know. Besides the point, let's go ahead and get it installed. So first steps first is we gotta disassemble it. So for disassembling a 3DS, all you really need is a really small Phillips screwdriver. I think this is, if I'm using the chart here. This looks like, yeah, this is about a JIS 000. So I just have a precision, you can just look up precision screwdrivers and you'll find one. And get this apart. So luckily for the back, all of those are captive screws. I'll zoom in a bit here for you. There we go. Oh, of course my camera battery's dying, so we'll have to cut in a second here. Alright, and then this shell just comes off. Oh, there we go. That one's still screwed in it. And those are all captive, so you don't need to worry about those screws. Put that aside, take the battery out. And now there are a couple of screws on the back. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 and 4. You got 14 screws on the back side. Take the pen out. It's actually a good idea to take the pen out. Take your SD card out, if you have one. And we'll get those screws out. So let's just cut. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So those are your screws. I'll highlight them briefly right here if I get the time. Oh, my bad, I've missed a screw. There's a 15th screw. You caught it live on camera. Probably watching me do it and going, oh my god, he's missing a screw. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. There we go. That's why it was so difficult to get out. So it's still flying out this way, and then we're going to, ta-da, you can see we've got one ribbon cable there, and one ribbon cable here. How do we pry those up? We put a fingernail under it. If you don't have a fingernail, you can get one of these little like spudgery things. That'll do it too. There aren't many more screws. From here on in, it's mostly just ribbon cables. So what we're going to try to get up is these 4 screws here, and then 2 more underneath. I'm going to take the Wi-Fi out, but mostly it's ribbon cables. So let's start. We'll take out the microphone first. So pull the little microphone out. Then flip up that tab. Alright, and be careful when you're flipping up these tabs, because you can, these ones especially, you can push them all the way forward and then too far, and they'll break off. So be a little bit careful with that. I'm also just going to focus a little bit and make sure that I'm on a good focus. Perfect. Now, with that done, I'm going to remove the Wi-Fi card. So we're just going to pull up from the back side a bit. And you'll see our cable there. That's a coaxial cable. I'm going to pull up on that, and it'll be free. Put that aside as well. This doesn't need to be worried about. Now we're going to see there's some tape here. We're going to remove this tape. So just simply peel it up a little bit. Right, you can put it somewhere special if you want to get it out of the way. See another one of these regular tabs, flick it up, put a screwdriver head or get some tweezers, flick it out of the way, close the lid. I think that's a touchscreen sensor, I'm not sure. Next we're going to want to unscrew the SD card. There we go. Let's get our little spudger tool here, and we're going to gently pry up around the edges of this. Try to get it not adhered to the bottom plate. Now you're probably going to bend the little bottom plate. It really doesn't matter if you do. It is not a big deal. I'm also going to say remove this ribbon cable here. So just pry up there, make sure it's removed. And I'm just going to keep going around. We really want this off. So, okay. God, what an adhesive, eh? Okay, so usually you bend that a bit, that's okay. Now we got rid of that, put it on the side. Okay, so next thing's next. We've got to remove those 2 screws underneath, just kind of bending it down a little bit. Take these 2 out. That one's going to be tough to remove. Put those with the SD card as well. Come on now, there we go. Now we got that out. So you'll be revealed the bottom video ribbon for the touch screen at the bottom. Flick that little white tab up, and you can either pull it out with this or a screwdriver, just give it a gentle tug. You're going to see over here, we've got another thing there. That might be the touch screen sensor, I'm not sure. Take that out, fold it back down, fold that one back down. Right, now that that's out, we got to worry about the top half. The top half, we've got a couple of, this is the most annoying thing to get back in. We got screens, there's one for the top there, there's probably some speakers or something going on there too. Now under here you can see another one, flick that black tab up. Gently, there we go. And I think there's a tab on this one. Yeah, just pull that out. There it is. There's one. And there's 3. There's one more hidden underneath. I'm going to fold that down before it breaks. Take these 2 screws out for the analog stick. Put those in here. There's going to be 2 plastic sliders immediately exposed to you, so keep good inventory of those. Just pull it out gently. You can see one of the plastic sliders, black, and then a nice softer one here. Put that in with where you're going to store this. Tiny little slider ribbon right here. Flick it up, pull it out, push it down. Now we got that done. So we can gently, you'll see we got a couple of pegs here that'll hold this in. So it's going to want to not quite move. And there's a little bit of adhesive sometimes. So just kind of gently rock it. Get this Wi-Fi out of the way. Gently rock it, get it up, over. And be careful because we've still got our volume slider, as well as, hold on here, you'll see in a sec, just gotta get whatever's holding it, there we go, a little bit of adhesive here, so flip it up and this way, and you will be revealed those 2 cables on the bottom, one for the display, flick up the little white tab, it'll fall out. As you can tell, it fell out really easily, so it's a really pain in the ass to get back in. You can disconnect the volume slider if you want, I'm not going to bother right now. Put that aside. And this is a screen. If you want to mask this off with some electrical tape, by all means. But I'm going to use the board itself. Okay. Just want to point that out. So now this is what we're going to be working on. I am going to disconnect this. I wasn't going to originally, but I will. And there we go. So now comes the part where we solder things. So just close these parts trays real quick. What we'll need to solder them, we don't need a screwdriver anymore, is our board. So each board comes with a serial number, it's really dumb, and a proprietary piece of software, which is also dumb, that you use to capture. So it doesn't just feed directly, I don't think it feeds directly into OBS, you feed it into the proprietary capture software, and then the software is to capture from there. You could capture the software. They include some solder, I'm not going to use that. I could, but I'm not going to. Alright, so this is how it lines up. Actually, let me pause the video, start it again. Okay, so this is how it's going to line up. Right, like... Come on now. Like that. So, you can see that's how it's going to line up. Now you're thinking, well, this part doesn't line up. That's because we're not done yet. So what we need to do you take a pair of scissors, preferably a good sharp pair, and we're going to trim the white line, just the white line. Be careful on this. There we go. And we're going to tuck the blade under there again. And trim all the way up the white line. Right, there you go. Now, put this back again. You can see that this white line here will be folded under. So what will happen is once this is in place, this folds over onto the other side, right? And then folds over again, like this. You can see it lines up with the screw hole. Pen comes in through here. We have to cut a hole out in the plastic, and then cut a hole out for the USB. Alright, so we're going to use some electrical tape to hold this in place. And a little bit of flux. I like to place a little bit just to help out. Let's tape this in place, shall we? Alright, so line those up. I'm going to go around moving this piece of electrical tape as I go. Not bad. I'll try to line the top too. Okay, so I realized that the vent is on, and it's probably vibrating directly into the camera, so it's probably pretty loud. And I could get an external mic, but I'm not going to. So what we're going to do instead is it's going to be pretty silent, and you're just going to be watching me solder. What I'm doing is I'm applying a little flux. It's pretty gel. You could use liquid flux. It's probably better. And applying it along here. And this one folds over, as you'll see in a second. This one folds over, and we're just going to be soldering that in. Simple as that. I hope you find it useful. Alright, so let's begin. Also, this soldering tip has failed. It's terrible. I've tried to keep it clean and somehow it's failed. It's one of those really cheap Chinese ones on Amazon. I'm gonna have to buy a real one. So I know you guys, you love to criticize soldering, so you're gonna see this tip and go, holy shit, it's dirty. Yeah, it's really bad. I'll buy another one. Alright, as you can see, I've made a bit of a mess in terms of covering this up, but I recommend covering it up because when this goes back on top, it's all conductive and it tends to touch those. So either cover the back of the screen or cover these, whichever you prefer. I recommend doing it. The original instructions, which are translated from Japanese and are in the description, don't mention doing that. I highly recommend it. Now comes the part that I absolutely hate doing in every modification, and that is case changes. So in here, this is an annoying change. So we need to take out the pen holder. So there are 3 screws holding it in. There should be 4 actually. There should be a 4th screw. Whatever. There should be 4 screws holding it in. I'm just seeing that there isn't one there. Weirdly suspicious. So I'm going to unscrew that. Get that in sight for you too, that would be nice. And we'll zoom down a little bit here. So this comes out with all 4 screws. You lose one anyways, so it's fine. Because you gain a screw because of what we're going to do here in a second. We need to cut these. So the first thing that we're going to cut is, well, whatever order you want to do it in. You're going to cut this. Do it right now for you. Just going to cut this like so. Pretty much. And so you can see it takes up less space, and you can get what we're going to do next. We actually have to trim that a little bit more. Next, we're going to cut this down here, and then cut this here. So we'll only have the top piece of this and a little flange here. And then, we're going to cut a giant gaping hole. Ooh, all the way around along here. You'll see it again, these are everything's in the description. And I won't bore you, I'll just go. Now what I hate is, I'm all over the place here, let me get my bearings. I hate cutting this out, because I would instinctively just be like, shh, when I cut it out, but it kind of doesn't work well with the knife. So I've been using the Dremel tool, which is a real pain, but I'm using the Dremel tool, I go along, and then I clean it up later by like soap carving with the knife. All the way along the lines. It's annoying, but it is what I've been doing. And then of course we're going to carve out a little hole, which is just, I usually just cut it in with the knife and then grind away at it with the knife, same sort of soap cutting technique, or with a file, and we'll call it there. So I'll be right back. Let me just cut this annoying hole out and I'll be right back. Okay, so you can see this messy, terrible hole I've cut out. I'm not going to do this on camera, I just want to demonstrate the miserableness of this. So like you can see this is rough, I'll need to cut that. You can see the screw hole still out, so I'll need to shave that off, and I'm all just going to be doing it like this. Just shaving it off bit by bit, and I can do it better when I have it like on soap carving with a knife. This isn't even the knife I use, but just like that, just soap carving. And I get shit off. And it takes a long ass time because I don't... Please, I beg. Someone in the comments, tell me what a good technique for cutting plastic is. Like, I know the old acrylic technique, snap. How do you do that with a square or a circular cutout like that? You can't do that. So, let me know if there's a knife or something in the comments. I'd love to know, honestly. Okay, so as you can see, I've done most of the reassembly here. Take a look at the hole we've got. So you can see that the SD card slot, you've cut it there. So we used to have that little piece where it was sort of shaped like a flag. Now we've cut it and we just got the little piece there, and you can see that it still functions, this SD card. You know, it's a little more fragile, but it'll be held down in place anyways, so we're good. That's good. The only thing to note when I was putting it back together, same thing as taking it apart. Just put the SD card in first. It'll make it way easier for you. Then put this analog stick in second, and the analog stick gets fished, as you can see. There's a little hole in this ribbon cable through there. And you're thinking that's damn tricky. It is tricky, but it's actually not as tricky as still the damn stock ribbon cable. That thing is really hard to get back in. place your little controllers, L and R, back in there. And then we just need to, oh, and I've cut a little hole. Terrible, terrible hole, as you can see. Keep it blurry, you don't need to see it. Have you ever watched my Mac Classic video where I say, oh, modernizing a Mac Classic? What I'm really doing, everyone gets mad at that video, but I'm not modernizing a Mac Classic. I'm making a case or a husk out of a Mac and putting modern computer components in it and trying to make a case out of a Mac, which is kind of blasphemy. But anyways, besides the point, I'm not very good at plastic cutting, as you can interpret from what I said earlier too. Please send me tools, I don't know. So that sort of goes down into there like that. You can see the hole. Perfect. And make sure everything's sort of secure up top. Give it a little gentle squeeze and see that all the buttons work. If they feel, they're going to be loose, but feel that they're all able to, yeah, at least press. Yeah. And then bring it back down. And I find I've never been able, like, no matter how much I carve this out and get it perfect, I've never been able to get it to sort of want to flush back in like it was when I got it stuck. I have to kind of push down on it with force and pray to God these screws hold back the forces, which feels bad, but it is what it is, and they work, so alright, so as you can see, it's done. We got the little USB going to the computer, et voila. Let me just there you go. As you can see, a little bit scrappy around the plastic cutting, but it always usually is. But it does work, and we're able to capture those there. So, not bad. I might upload the software in the description, just in case this site's a little hard to navigate. But yeah, that's that. Hope you found this useful or interesting to some degree. I don't even know if you're gonna be able to get your hands on them, because they are on this Japanese website here. Oh boy, here we go. Yes, yeah, I'll have a link to it though. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you next time.